So in our last video, we covered sort of an introduction to functions and what they were and what we're going to be covering in the next couple of videos. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about using functions with parameters. So in our last example, we just created a really basic function and we called that function, and then that function printed out some text and it done some calculations and printed out a number. But in this, we're going to go and give our function a number, and then we're going to do something with that number. So we're going to define our function. So we're going to use the keyword def, and we're going to call our function num function. So again, this name can be whatever we want. And then for our parameters can be whatever we want as well. So I'm just going to say num1 is our parameter. That's what we're going to call our parameter. Then we're going to put our colon. And then we're just going to print out the num1. So whatever number that we're going to pass into this function, I just want to print it out. I want to have a stepping stone just to make sure that the function is working. So now that we've created the function, we need to go and call the function. So we're going to just grab the name of the function and we're going to paste that there. And now if we just have our round brackets and we go and call this function, it's not going to actually work. So you can see that we get an error here, and it's basically saying that we have a missing requirement, and that missing requirement is this num1 here. So it's missing a number. So we could put in whatever number we want. So we could put in the number 5 here, and if we go and run this now, it'll compile and it'll print out the number 5 because that's the number that we've sent into the function. If we send in the number 15 into this function, it would then print out the number 15, as you can see here. But what we could also do is we're calling this function and we're passing in this number 15. Okay, so that's us calling the function. And then this function is taking in the number 15 and it's printing out 15. But if we wanted to do something else, like maybe we don't want to just display out whatever number the user gives us, maybe we want to add 5 to that number for whatever reason. So now if we go and run this with the input of 15, we get 20. And if we were to have an input of 11, we'd get 16. And this just isn't for numbers. We could go and pass in something else. So we could pass in a string. So we could pass in the name Ryan. Now, since we're now passing in a string and we're not passing in a number, it would probably make sense to change this from num1 to string1 or something like that. But we don't have to. Now, I'm going to delete this +5 because we would run into an issue, because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to add what would be a string, which is Ryan in this case, and we're trying to add 5 to it, so that doesn't really make much sense. So I'm going to just take away that +5 for the minute, and I'm going to run this, and you can see that Ryan gets displayed even though we have this num1 as its name, but num1 doesn't actually mean anything. It's just a name that we give to it. But I'm going to change this because I think string1 or str1 makes a little bit more sense. So we could change this to str1, and we can see when we run this, we get the exact same output. And just before this, if we wanted to add another piece of text or another string to Ryan, we could just do something like this. We could put in 2 quotes and we could just say hi and put in a space after the I, and then between the quotation mark and the string, we just put in a plus because we want to add these 2 together. And if we run this now, we see hi Ryan. And if we were to change this from Ryan to Amy and run this, we'd get hi Amy. So we're passing in a string to a function, and then that function is greeting us with hi and then whatever the name of the parameter that we send in.